Hello and welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host Shreyasa Vijay. Here are the headlines. Afghan citizens worry of worsening economic crisis and the spread of poverty. Brunei develops digital platform to target international market. Unmarried women in India celebrate auspicious Karwa Chauth fast for longevity of spouses. Let's begin the show. India and Nepal have had a formidable bilateral relationship since time immemorial, and an improved connectivity for the purpose of trade, strategic depth and people-to-people connection has been considered a key component to the ever-prospering ties. India has not just maintained that Nepal is its perennial friend, but has committed selflessly to the Himalayan nation's construction, reconstruction post-earthquake and development at larger scale. A railway section was recently opened under the same line of efforts to support Nepal. Have a look.
Equipped with latest technology, Janakpur-Jainagar railway link that has been constructed with Indian assistance is ready to be operational. The two sides hosted a formal gathering on the occasion and underlined the efforts being made on both sides to speedily enhance the multi-level ties between them. Under the grant assistance of the Government of India, the gauge conversion of around 35-kilometer narrow gauge section into broad gauge from Jainagar in India to Kurtha in Nepal was constructed. 35-kilometer Jainagar-Kurtha section is part of a nearly 70-kilometer Jainagar-Bijalpura-Bardibas rail link being developed under Indian grant assistance of 8.77 billion Nepalese rupees.
आज जयनगर बिजलपुरा बर्दिवास को जयनगर कुर्ता खंड को रेलवे संरचना को हस्तांतरण ले नेपाल में ब्रॉड गेज लाइन डेमू ट्रेन सेट सहित आधुनिक रेल सेवा संचालन को ढोका खुले को मैले महसुस गरेको छु.
While the two sides had earlier pledged to jointly develop small sections, they now have committed to take it to next and broader level this year. Now a gigantic project comprises building a broad gauge rail line between Kathmandu and Raxaul that will link Nepal's capital Kathmandu with the Indian railway network, providing access to all Indian cities. The railway system will pass through the historical town of Janakpur, which is of great religious significance to both sides. Experts believe the $3.15 billion project will also prove cornerstone to robust bilateral and strategic ties between the two sides.
The connectivity between the people of our two countries is one of the central features of Prime Minister Modi's neighborhood first policy in our region. Why? Because connectivity lies at the very heart of everything that we as a society do, that we as a country do, and then we as a people do. Whether it's economic activity, cultural exchanges, or even just very simple exchanges between the people of the two countries.
Calling Nepal a perennial partner of New Delhi, India has consistently backed and supported its development endeavours. From small-scale development projects to providing assistance in its reconstruction and gasoline lines, India has ensured the pace of development in Nepal grows exponentially. Before being hit by the second wave of the COVID pandemic, which had severely affected India, New Delhi had generously supported Nepal in its vaccination process too. And now, when it has resumed its global export of vaccine, Nepal is going to be one of the prime beneficiaries. The visits and reciprocal visits of top leadership in two countries are also suggestive of rapidly deepening ties between the two. With an open border, while the citizens of the two countries do not differentiate and discriminate between two sides, the joint leadership has ensured the bond is strengthened with every rising sun.
Moving on, the Afghan humanitarian situation is depleting by the day, and Taliban-ruled country is now staring at a massive crisis. Poverty and unemployment is widespread, and in absence of money owing to Washington freezing Afghan accounts, the international observers fear that a large section of the society, nearly 60% of them, stand on the cusp of having acute food shortage. A global appeal has been made by the United Nations urging countries to support, but little response has so far been witnessed, with countries still doubting the Taliban's credibility.
The economic crisis in Afghanistan is rapidly worsening, and most of the country's population has plunged below the poverty line since the Taliban swept to power this August. Humanitarian organizations say millions of Afghans, including children, could die of starvation unless an urgent intervention is made. According to World Food Programme's projections, 22.8 million people, more than half of Afghanistan's 39 million population, were facing acute food insecurity compared to 14 million just 2 months ago. And under the current scenario, when the unemployment rate is growing exponentially, the situation is on the brink of collapse. People are making distressed appeals for help, but little have they been assisted so far.
واقعاً کلی می‌بینیم که ما در یک بحران اقتصادی خراب قرار داریم. وضعیت مردم این تقریباً 99% مردم زیر خط فقر زندگی دارند. مشکلات بی نهایت زیاد است. شما می‌بینید چند قبل که 8 تا کودک از گشنگی جان داد.
And while Taliban-ruled Afghanistan is in dire need of assistance, Washington, which has frozen billions of dollars of Afghan money, has found itself in a tough spot. The Taliban, which had promised to present a modern and liberal version of it if returned to power, has sadly followed the same model of governance it employed in the 90s. And the progress made by non-military US aid of over $150 billion and billions of others from the different countries and organizations in the past 2 decades is reversing by the day. The current Taliban cabinet, which makes claims of being inclusive and is demanding to be recognized globally, hasn't included any women or people belonging to ethnic, religious or linguistic minorities. In fact, they have been targeting these people and not letting girls go to school. Apart from this, a potential threat of radicalization and a possible Taliban support to Islamic terrorism in future are major factors behind Washington freezing the Afghan money. Observers around the world fear Afghanistan might plunge into a humanitarian crisis if it wasn't provided with substantial financial assistance, but they also blame the Taliban for creating such a situation. And amidst all this, it is the common Afghan who is suffering.
با این وضعیت اگر جامعه جهانی، کشورهای قدرتمند، کشورهای دارای اقتصاد بالا اگر افغانستان را کمک نکنه، کشورهایی که داد از حقوق بشر میزنه، داد از عدالت میزنه، داد از مساوات برابری میزنه، اگر در این شرایط افغانستان را تنها بگذاره، کمک نکنه، به داد مردمی مظلوم افغانستان نرسه، وضعیت در آینده بحرانی است.
Major international players, including the United Nations and the regional influencers like Russia, have urged the US to come to the rescue, but the White House is yet to take a call. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for the International Monetary Fund to agree on waivers or mechanisms to get money into Afghanistan. The IMF has also blocked the Taliban from accessing some $440 million in new emergency reserves. But even if the money is given to Afghanistan, it is not going to bring any significant change in the country's situation. It is the entire economy that is at stake. It is the entire state that stands on the verge of failure. Only an integrated global effort can save the country, and that is not appearing to be happening anytime in near future.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in our segment called Asia Watch.
Israel will build some 3,000 homes for Jewish settlers in the occupied West Bank, a step that has drawn strong criticism from its US ally. An Israeli defense official said a planning forum of Israel's liaison office with the Palestinians gave preliminary approval for plans to build 1,344 housing units and its final go-ahead for projects to construct 1,800 homes. The United States had already voiced strong opposition to the plans to advance the settlement units in the West Bank, saying such moves would damage prospects of a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Ahead of the planning committee's meeting, Israel on last Sunday published tenders for about 1,300 new settlement homes in the West Bank, where some 440,000 settlers live among 3 million Palestinians.
South Korean fans of popular Netflix global hit series Squid Games flocked to a park in Seoul after a doll featured in the show was installed there. Yonggi, a 4-meter-tall replica doll dressed in orange and yellow, had been set up at Seoul Olympic Park for fans in South Korea, Netflix's PR agency said. It is planned to be on display until November 21, according to a park official. Visitors were seen posing for photographs and playing a Korean traditional game featured in the show around the doll. Squid Game has been watched by 142 million households since its September 17 debut, according to Netflix, the world's largest streaming service, helping it add 4.38 million new subscribers.
Iran has said the talks with 6 major powers will resume by end of November. The 6 powers include the P5 and the European Union. In April, Iran and 6 world powers started negotiations to revive the agreement which former US President Donald Trump quit in 2018 and reimpose sanctions that have crippled Iran's economy. The talks have been on hold since June, 2 days after the hardline cleric Ibrahim Raisi was elected Iran's president. Concerned about Iran's nuclear advances, Western powers have urged Tehran to return to negotiations in Vienna. Since 2019, Iran has gradually breached limits imposed by the nuclear deal, but says its nuclear steps are reversible if US President Joe Biden lifts all his country's sanctions on Iran.
Be it organizing some grand event or introducing new innovations, Japan and its companies have never failed to give their best. Recently, Rinnai is expanding globally and coming up with high-quality products. On the other side, school in Japan's tsunami-hit Onagawa town becomes a symbol of hope. Have a look.
Rinnai, a Japanese manufacturer of thermal energy equipment, has a long history for its support to improve the daily lives of Japanese people. The company is expanding globally and coming up with high-quality products. While achieving the goals of Sustainable Development Goals and a huge internet society, Rinnai has announced guidelines for DX digital transformation.
今年から中期経営計画の5年が、スタートを切っておりまして、全社的には、一つの大きな、KGI 目標数値を決めております。これは国内国外合わせて、売上を4500億、これ2025年度目標なんですが、これを必達するという明確な目標がございます。これに対して、各部門はそれぞれ実現するための施策というのを打っております。例えば開発本部ですと、現状の製品の新製品の開発期間、これを 今現状よりも 30%、もっと早くしていこうということで取り組みをスタートしております。営業におきましては4500億のうち2000億国内での売上の目標として決めておりますので、この2000億を必達するためにさまざまな取り組みを掲げております。この中からさらにデジタルを使った革新的なこのトランスフォーメーションをかけながら事業を回していく、こういった取り組みをそれぞれ掲げながら今進めております。海外につきましては2500億あるんですけども、今ちょうど海外の市場で一番伸びているのがアメリカと中国になります。よりいい製品をより早く供給していく、こういったことを市場に対してどんどんいい製品を投入していくということを今考えているので、その根幹となるところがやはり今の開発の体制、製造の体制ということになってまいりますので、ここをいかに早くスピード感を持って回していくか、これが最終的にはその海外の売り上げにも効いてくるなということで、開発本部もとにかく時間を短くしていこうという取り組みで目指して進めております。
One of the best efforts for digital transformation is the application Renai Biz that connects with customers. Although there is lack of physical interaction in the internet world and the digital space, the advantages of digital technology are great.
リンナイが世の中に公開しているカタログに関しては全てですね、デジタルカタログとしてリンナイビズ上に公開をしております。例えば新商品が、お風呂が泡が出て楽しめるというものがあるんですけれども、どれぐらいの泡が出ますっていうのはやっぱり口で伝えるよりも分かりやすいというのは、ありまして、こういったものっていうのもお客様がご自分で好きな時に好きに選んで使っていただけるっていうふうに公開をしております。
Renai Biz helps customers lead a convenient life. DX's Renai initiative offers quality service and enables citizens to enjoy high quality products. Onagawa is a small town located in Miyagi Prefecture of northeastern Japan. During the 2011 tsunami, the town lost 800 people, along with most of the coastal area being distorted. But now, Onagawa has evolved as a symbol of recovery. It is rebuilt with many beautiful buildings like the main station, which is located at the center of the town. Local residents also have new houses, and on the seaside, visitors could be seen enjoying taking a walk and watching sunsets. This new school is the main symbol of reconstruction in town. It was built with assistance from the Japanese government and the Qatari government. Before 2011 tsunami, elementary school and junior high school buildings were located in different places, but due to a decrease in the number of students after the earthquake, both the schools were integrated in a new building, thus providing relief to residents. The school building has 4 floors that could accommodate approximately 300 elementary and junior high school students. It is also equipped with other facilities. In addition, it also has solar panels that can provide the residents with shelter and electricity at the time of disasters.
山の中腹といいますか、海抜ここでも30メートルぐらいございますので、当時の津波の最大の高さよりも高い位置に作られておりますので、1階部分の方は地域の方々も避難できるように設計されておりますので、そういった意味で震災っていいますか、災害に対しての一つの拠点というふうな形にはなれるんじゃないかなと思っています。
One of the buildings which were destroyed during the tsunami is preserved to remind people of the intensity of the disaster and to show how much progress that has been made ever since.
みんなでまた新しい街を作っていこうっていうその力になるのは子どもたちだと思うんですね。で、その子どもたちの未来を担っていく力を作るための学校は素晴らしい宝物だと思います。だからその宝物を作っていただいたっていうことを本当に感謝しています。
The school has become not only an important part of the town, but has also emerged as an icon of successful reconstruction and recovery in northeastern Japan.
The Indian festivals are not just limited to colours, lights and fanfare, but also comprise a set of other cultural values of devotion, dedication and sacrifice. Some festivals even highlight the inherent cultural values of respect and affection among the men and women in society. On one side, there is a festival that celebrates symbolic hurling of sticks on men by women. There is other like the recently observed Karwa Chauth, under which the married women observe a rigorous day-long fast for the longevity of their spouses. Have a look.
Wearing traditional colourful attires, married Indian women across the country celebrated the auspicious Karwa Chauth and observed fast for the longevity of their spouse. Also known as Nirjala Vrat, a strict fasting where women do not consume either food or water. Karwa Chauth falls on the 4th day of the Hindu month of Kartik. On this day, women worship the Hindu god Shiva and his spouse Parvati. On this auspicious day, women gather in groups, listen to folk tales and decorate their karwas or clay pots and puja thali, with all things symbolizing a happy married life.
ये सुहाग का त्यौहार है करवा चौथ एंड पूरा नॉर्थ इंडिया में तो ये बहुत पॉपुलर त्यौहार है। ये पति की लंबी आयु की कामना के लिए होता है।
शाम को भगवान की पूजा करके कथा सुनकर फिर हम चांद का वेट करते हैं क्योंकि चंद्रमा इसमें मेन है और अपने पति को देखकर उस व्रत को हम लोग तोड़ते हैं चांद को देखकर।
The day begins with women eating sargi, a food platter usually prepared by their mother-in-law. The sargi meal contains sweets, coconut water, vermicelli and many more, a healthy food that allows them to prepare for the day-long fasting. Women also indulge in applying henna on their hands and getting beautifully dressed up. In the evening, they perform puja for their husbands before the moon sighting. The women then see the moon through a sieve and catch a glimpse of their husbands through the same sieve. It is believed that when a wife looks at her husband through a sieve, all negative emotions are filtered through it. According to the Hindu mythology, moon is one of the most important celestial bodies. Once all the rituals are done, then women mark the end of the festival by drinking a glass of water and having sweets to break their fast.
हम सुबह तारों की छांव में 4 से 5 बजे के करीब सरगी खाते हैं जो हमारी सास हमें देती हैं। उसके बाद पूरा दिन हमारा निर्जला व्रत होता है और शाम को चांद को अर्घ्य देने के बाद हम लोग खाना खाते हैं।
Not only for women, Karwa Chauth is equally important for the husbands because their wives specially dedicate the entire day praying for their longevity and prosperity. It is also a celebration of love, marriage and the bond shared between a husband and a wife.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Shreyasa Vijay signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.